So I'm gonna preface this video by saying the Pixel 4 is a good smartphone, but it's not a great smartphone. And that's because every flagship smartphone that I reviewed in 2019 has been a good smartphone. What makes a great smartphone is the key small differences. The difference is that companies create and change based on user feedback. Apple has done a fantastic job of listening to its users this year, same with Samsung, and same with OnePlus. The Pixel 4 does some amazing new things, but it also takes a few steps backwards. The first area is the design. This is super subjective. You either love it or hate it. I think it looks very minimalistic, but the one area that it does excel in is the way it feels in your hand. These blacked brushed aluminum edges have a nice rough texture to it. The fact that it's using a flat display instead of an edge display is a bonus in my books. It just feels a lot more comfortable to type on, and it just feels like a phone that I don't want to put a case on. Now this is a clearly white model, but I put a dbrand skin on it to protect the back from getting scratched. The big feature about this device happens to be the radar sensor that's embedded inside of it. They're calling it the Soli Sensor, and it does little things. The cool things is it integrates with Face ID, making this a very secure device to unlock your phone. I personally prefer it over Touch ID or some sort of fingerprint scanner because it's really fast on the Pixel. It's probably faster than the iPhone 11 Pro, but I love the fact that it takes you directly to where you were last left off. With the iPhone 11 Pro, you unlock the phone, then you have to swipe up the screen. Now I know you can unlock it while you're sleeping, which is kind of unfortunate. This is gonna get fixed in the next update. Besides that, the Soli Sensor does a lot of gimmicky stuff. Like you can swipe to change the music, you can pause the alarm, which is all cool on paper, but it's finicky. It works sometimes and other times it just doesn't work at all. What I'm hoping for, at least crossing my fingers, is that down the road, they're gonna implement some more beneficial features, like the ability to track your heart rate while you scan your hand over the device, or some other sort of technology that other phones are not doing. The display has got an update as well. Not only are you getting a beautiful AMOLED panel, it's a lot more consistent than previous years. Do you remember the Pixel 2 with its blue screens and the Pixel 3 having hardware issues? Well, this one seems to be flawless. And on top of that, you're also getting that high refresh rate, 90 Hertz, which is fantastic. It makes scrolling through things a wonderful experience, very similar to the OnePlus device. This one happens to be dynamic, so it's not always 90 Hertz, and it does this to save battery life. Now, hands down, my favorite thing about this smartphone is the Google experience. Android 10 on the Pixel is better than any other Android phone. I used to say it was the OnePlus device, but this has just taken the crown. What Google has done was polish the OS, use one of their chips inside of the device to bring Google Assistant embedded into the phone, so talking to it is a lot quicker and the response is a lot faster. Plus, they totally stole the gestures from the iPhone, and they did a good job of implementing it into the Pixel 10. But the one area that this phone completely suffers from, and I think it's inexcusable, is the battery life. The Pixel 4's battery life is atrocious. Literally 4 hours to sometimes 4.5 hours of use or screen on time before this phone dies. The Pixel 4 XL is a little better. I can get 5 to 5.5 hours of use before the battery dying. But overall, for 2019 standards, it's way below the competition. Then there's the camera. This year, Google went with 2 lenses instead of 3, which is pretty much the standard for most flagship smartphones. They went the telephoto because they feel it provides a lot more information. And technically, yes, it does when you're doing things like measuring depth or doing portrait mode. But why couldn't they just stick a 3rd lens inside of here? They feel the ultra wide is not important, but I disagree. It's a different focal length. It's a different experience. It's a different type of emotion when you're taking a picture. With a big square bump like this, it should have been inside of it. Now, is it the best camera for a smartphone? It's tough to say. It traded a lot of blows with the iPhone 11 Pro. If you want to see a full comparison of the iPhone versus the Pixel 4 XL, I'll place a link in the description down below. But one of my favorite features about this device is the recording app. And I know a lot of phones can do it. They have these apps built into them, but this one is special because it does all the processing on the phone itself. It's real time. Even if I was to put it on airplane mode, it would continue to translate exactly what I'm saying. Like I'm talking right now, it's getting everything I'm saying. It makes the odd mistake here or there, but this is such a key feature for journalists. Maybe you're a student at school, you want to record a lecture. Just having this on your phone, being able to search for those specific words later is really nice. So here are my closing thoughts. The Pixel 4 has a lot of good things going for it, like buttery smooth display that looks awesome, the best Android experience, period. Google Assistant is on crack. You have a wonderful, wonderful transcribing app that is very flawless, and you have a good camera for stills. But, and I mean but, the battery life is a major, major turnoff. This device, especially the smaller Pixel 4, unless you're using it very lightly, you're gonna have a tough time getting through the entire day. Imagine 2 years down the road when your battery degrades, this phone is not gonna last half a day. The other area is the pricing. $800 for 64 gigabytes with a battery that doesn't last, and Google took away free uploads of high quality photos. It becomes a harder sell, especially when you have the iPhone 11 for $600 and the OnePlus 7 Pro T for $500. I get it. The iPhone 11 Pro is only offering 64 gigabytes as well, but the iPhone 11 Pro is selling a lot of smartphones. The Pixel devices never have. And I think if Google wants to make a big dent on the market, they've got to start offering more for less. Got to retain the premium quality, but keep some of those features they had in previous years on their devices. I will say this though, if you're looking for the best Android experience, this is it, but the battery is a big turnoff. Anyways, this wraps up this review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.